This is the solution video for section 2.4, question number 28. The graph of f of x equals 6x plus 5 to the 7th times 2x plus 3 to the negative 5th looks like the picture below. There are horizontal tangents at x equals a and x equals c. Find a, b, and c. All right, so first of all, we want to look at the graph, okay? You're told that there are horizontal tangents at A and C. So horizontal tangent means what? Well, it means that the slope of the tangent equals 0, right? So that means that f prime of A equals 0 and f prime of C equals 0 as well. Now, another thing that you should also notice is that the graph crosses the x-axis at C. So what does that tell you? That f of C is 0 as well, right? So f prime of C is 0, but also f of C is 0. All right, now the other thing that you should notice is that what's going on at B, there's a vertical asymptote. So what does that mean? If there's a vertical asymptote, that f of B is undefined, right? All right, so that's what we need to take from the graph. All right, so now let's look at the function. So let's start off with the piece of information that relates to f, not f prime yet. All right, so f of x is 6x plus 5 to the 7th over 2x plus 3 to the negative 5th. In other words, it is 6x plus 5 to the 7th divided by 2x plus 3 to the 5th, right? All right, so think about this. F of c is 0. So what does that mean? Well, if this function equals 0, that means the numerator, 6x plus 5 to the 7th, must equal 0. Okay? But f of b is undefined. Well, what does that mean? That means that the denominator must be 0. So 2x plus 3 to the 5th equals 0. Right? So if I take 6x plus 5 to the 7th equals 0, I take the 7th root, so I get 0, and then I subtract 5 divided by 6. So x must equal negative 5 over 6. All right? So what does that mean? Since the numerator was equal to 0, that means that c must be negative 5 over 6. Everyone agree with that? All right. So then over here, okay, 2x plus 3 to the 5th equals 0. So I take the 5th root, subtract 3, divide by 2. So that means that x equals negative 3 halves. So what does that mean? That meant the denominator was 0, which means that the function is undefined. That means that b must be negative 3 halves. Now, does that make sense? B is on the left of c. So is negative 3 halves less than negative 5/6? The answer is yes. So now, it's important that you know that's all pre-calc. There's no calculus there. All right, but now we do need to find f prime equal to 0 in order to find a. All right, so let's go ahead and find f prime. All right, so f prime of x. All right, so I'm going to use the product rule. So I have 6x plus 5 to the 7th times the derivative of 2x plus 3 to the negative 5th. So chain rule says negative 5 times 2x plus 3 to the negative 6th, right? Remember, reduce the power by 1, and then don't forget about multiplying by the derivative of 2x plus 3, which is 2. Plus, then I have 2x plus 3 to the negative 5th times the derivative of 6x plus 5 to the 7th, which is 7 times 6x plus 5 to the 6th times the derivative of 6x plus 5, which is 6. All right, so now that's f prime. But what do I need to do? Well, we want to find a. And what is a? A is the value of x that makes f prime equal to 0. And so is c. So we'll talk about that in a moment. All right. So anyway, I'm going to set this equal to 0. Now I'm going to simplify this or clean it up a little bit. So first of all, I have negative 10, right? Negative 5 and 2. And then I have 6x plus 5 to the 7th and 2x plus 3 to the negative 6th. And then I have plus, so I have a 7 and a 6, so 42 times 2x plus 3 to the negative 5th, and then 6x plus 5 to the 6th. All right, so now, okay, I'm ready to solve. So I have two terms, right? I have this first part here plus this next part here. So how am I going to solve? I want to factor. So I have a negative 10 and a 42. So they're both divisible by 2. So I'm going to take out a 2. All right. Then I have 6x plus 5 to the 7th, and I have 6x plus 5 to the 6th. So I'm going to take out the lower power, 6x plus 5 to the 6th. All right. Then I have 2x plus 3 to the negative 6th, and 2x plus 3 to the negative 5th. So remember, take out the lower power. So 2x plus 3 to the negative 6th. All right. So now what does that leave me with? Well, I took out a 2, so I have a negative 5 remaining. I took out a 6x plus 5 to the 6th, but I had 6x plus 5 to the 7th, so I have 6x plus 5 to the 1st, right? And I took out 2x plus 3 to the negative 6th, so that's gone. Then I have plus, now I had a 42, but I took out a 2, so I have a 21. And I had 2x plus 3 to the negative 5th, but I took out 2x plus 3 to the negative 6th. So that means I have 2x plus 3 to the what? Well, it would be 2x plus 3 to the 1st, because when I distribute, I would get negative 6 plus 1 is negative 5. So that would be what's remaining. And I had 6x plus 5 to the 6th, and I took 6x plus 5 to the 6th out. So this is what I'm left with. All right, so now I'm going to simplify that part here. So I'm going to leave 2 times 6x plus 5 to the 6th times 2x plus 3 to the negative 6th. And then I have this. All right, so it's negative 5 times 6, negative 30x minus 25 plus 21. Sorry, not 21. 21 times 2, so 42x plus, and then 3 times 21 is 63. All right, so now I take the first part, 2 times 6x plus 5 to the 6th. Set that equal to 0. Then I take this next part, 2x plus 3 to the negative 6th equals 0. And then I take this part. So I'm going to combine like terms, negative 30x plus 42, so 12x. And then I have a negative 25 and a 63. So 63 minus 25 is 28, right? Sorry, 38, right? Equals 0. Okay. All right, so now I'm going to solve each one of these. All right, so I'm going to divide by 2. 0 divided by 2 is 0. And then I'm going to take the 6th root. The 6th root of 0 is 0. So I'm going to subtract 5, divide by 6. So x equals negative 5/6. Of course, that's already c, right? We already knew that. All right, next, 2x plus 3 to the negative 6th. I'm going to take, well, what is this really? So we have to remember that 2x plus 3 to the negative 6th really means 1 over 2x plus 3 to the 6th. Now, this, of course, can never equal 0 because the numerator is never 0. But if the denominator is 0, then this thing is undefined. All right, so we set the denominator 2x plus 3 to the 6th equals 0. 6th root, subtract 3, divide by 2, x equals negative 3 halves, right? So what does this mean? Well, x equals negative 3 halves makes f prime undefined. So remember, if f prime is undefined, that means the derivative does not exist there. So take a look. If the original function had a vertical asymptote there, then the derivative doesn't exist there. And so, of course, b is negative 3 halves, which we already knew. All right, and so then to finish, I'm going to solve this last part. I'm going to subtract 38, divide by 12. X equals negative 38 twelfths, which is reducible to negative 19 over 6. All right, negative 19 over 6. Well, that is when the derivative equals 0, right? And so that means that a must be negative 19 over 6. Now, once again, you want to make sure that these are, in fact, in the correct locations, right? So negative 5/6 there, then to the left of it, negative 3 halves, and then to the left of it, negative 19 over 6.